What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about some interesting facts about Norway. So, today, I want to take a look at this Reddit discussion where somebody asked, my special new interest is Norway. Tell me a fun fact. And a whole bunch of Norwegians have responded to this question, so I thought this would be a really fun discussion to take a look at and a great way to learn some random, lesser known facts about Norway. So let's take a look here, starting with traditionally, Norway used to count the way that Germans do. How do Germans count? For instance, 2 and 30 rather than 32. 2 and 30 instead of 30, like backwards. Backwards from what I'm used to anyway. And apparently from what Norwegians are now used to, I didn't know that any other country did it like this, actually. And apparently, Norway, for some amount of time, in the 50s or 60s, Norway was going to change from 5 to 6 digits in local telephone numbers. 5 to 6 digits? Wait, aren't telephone numbers here are like 7 digits? And also a 3-digit area code, so really 10 digits. Are Norwegian phone numbers 5 or 6 digits? Wait, okay, there's a lot already that I'm learning. Norway used to count differently. 2 and 30 rather than 32, for example. And your phone numbers, the amount of numbers in your phone numbers changed. The engineers in the Norwegian state calculated the amount of wrong numbers dialed would reduce significantly if Norwegians changed the way we pronounced numbers. They presented their case for the Norwegian government. The Norwegian government agreed, and from then on, they said Norwegians should say 32 rather than 2 and 30. I didn't know anybody even did it that way. That is news to me. And as a result, many of us old people use both. Really? Really? Is this true? So when did they do this? When did they do this? They said the 50s and 60s? Yeah, if it was in the 60s, that means if you're like 70, 80 years old right now, you might remember saying numbers differently in Norway, in Norwegian? Really? As a millennial, I think I do it most when speaking to older people. But also when I want to express surprise. Really, I understand like the premise. It's like instead of 12, would you say 2 and 10? Instead of 83, it'd be 3 and 80? It is a longer way to say it, though. Is there any reason to do it that way? Yes, I became one of them who counts like this. I did not know. I did not know this was a thing. We had an opportunity to start counting like they do in Denmark. How do they count in Denmark? You know, I'm a little surprised that there's literally like these little things like counting phone numbers that are different. Like, I'm surprised, but at the same time, there's no other way I would ever have heard about this, if not for this random Norwegian Reddit thread. So that's exactly why I do it. Okay, fascinating. Norway has equal pay because a large group of men threatened the government they'd divorce their wives. A big group of men had to threaten the Norwegian government to get equal pay. They divorced their wives. Why did the government care if they would divorce their wives? What kind of threat is that? I would be the short version. The longer version is that women did not originally pay taxes. If they were married and employed, the husband would take a massive hit financially, thus making it hard for women to stay employed after marriage. So feminists teamed up with married men to reform the tax system. Really? It's one of the larger boosts to Norway's economy. Surpassed only by oil. Yeah, seriously. Really? There's a whole story behind equal pay and women's rights in Norway. That's another thing that I've never heard about in Norway either. Wow, that's interesting. Is that that's me? That's me. It's like, wow. This is I don't know when I'm going to use this information. I don't know what this information is good for other than wow. That is interesting. And it is. What are some more interesting weird facts about Norway? Squirrel in Norwegian is ekorn, which in English sounds like acorn. Sounds like they named after their sounds like squirrels are named after their favorite food. Squirrels like acorns. In Norway, a squirrel is called an ekorn. Is this how random the facts are going to be? I hope so. I really do. I really do. Because I like that. What else? Finnmark. Norges nordligste region. Litt større enn Denmark. Oh? What? 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 Is this in Norwegian? I do not understand. Can I translate this? Google has absolutely no idea what I'm doing when I type that in. Norwegian to English? Oh, can I get a translate? Yeah, here we go. Google Translate. What is this? Norway's Finnmark is slightly larger than Denmark? So a part of Norway is bigger than Denmark. Yeah, I don't know much about Denmark, but holy cow. Norway, I think Norway is a lot bigger than I think it is. That's what this is kind of teaching me. Norway, with only 5.5 million people, is almost as large as Germany, which has 80 million people. I think, yes, this is something I don't really think about enough. And if you look on a map of the world, I don't think it really shows how big Norway is in proportion. Like, Norway, I think, is a lot bigger than I thought in my mind. That's kind of what this is telling me. Mag og kan, mo og kan, has the opposite meaning in Danish and Norwegian. Well, what does it mean in English? Must and can. Must and can has the opposite meaning in Danish and Norwegian. I'm not sure what this means. I like to think that's why maybe is kanskje in Norwegian and moske in Danish. I'm not exactly sure what we're saying here. Mo og kan has the opposite meaning. Must and can? Must and can. If you must do something, or you can do something. In American English, those words are not opposites. I would not say they have the opposite meaning. I can go outside. I must go outside. The opposite would be like, I can go outside. I can't go outside. That's opposite. Is this just some kind of interesting little language thing I'm not entirely understanding, maybe? Maybe. Huh. Interesting, though. Before you move to northern Norway, visit during the winter. It's dark, cold, and the distance between things is often long. Before you move. So if you're going to move to northern Norway, you need to understand that it is difficult. I've learned some things about northern Norway in other videos, like how it can be dark for months, super cold, pretty difficult living conditions, actually. A lot of Americans don't know that about northern Norway. So you should experience that before just moving to northern Norway. Because, especially for a lot of Americans, I think Americans wouldn't realize how difficult it is living there, truly. Um, or you can have light. Like it can't it be light for 24 hours as well? I think it can be darkness all the time or light all the time. Weird stuff starts happening when you get that far north in Norway. That's for sure. How do you make a Dane speak Norwegian? Take the potato out off his mouth. Okay, I thought Norwegians had this made fun of Swedish people, also Danish people. It's so weird to think Danish sounds like gibberish to people. I don't know. I've never heard Danish. Do Norwegians have trouble understanding Danish? I don't, I don't know. This is good. This is like, I like these little insights into Norwegian culture from Norwegians, some inside jokes, some facts that are not obvious. You have to be Norwegian to understand some of the, or to know some of this stuff. It's like I'm getting to peek behind the curtain here into Norwegian life. Grein means to cry in Norwegian, and it means laughter in Danish. Really? I didn't know Danish and Norwegian were like related or had all these funny comparisons in the language. There are 28 Stav churches left in Norway, dating from 1150 to the 1300s. There used to be more than a thousand. Wow, there's only 28 left. The Stav churches are these like old wooden churches in Norway, right? Very, very interesting architecture. Nothing really like them in other parts of the world. Uh, they're really 1,000 years old. That's incredible. Like here in America, America has only been around for a short amount of time in the grand scheme of things. So we don't have that much historical old stuff. Norway is really cool. It's been around a long time. It has 1,000-year-old churches. That's really cool, actually. What else? Scroll down here. Objectively, the best Norwegian word for a tadpole is a rumpetroll. There's a lot of funny Norwegian language facts today. I don't mind it. I mean, tadpole is a funny word. Tadpole. That's a silly word. Maybe not as weird as rumpetroll. Norway initially discovered there is huge oil and gas reserves off their west coast in 1969. As the country was starting to get an oil industry up, we invited Sweden to join in. They were offered part of the Norwegian seabed for 40% of the shares of Volvo. Sweden refused. This turned out to be a very bad call. The loss for Sweden was probably 700 billion NOK. Really? Kroner. 700 million krone? Sweden had a chance to get 40. No, how much? A part. I don't know what a part means. A part of the Norwegian oil seabed. They had a chance to get that for 40% of Volvo, the company. I mean, I understand they didn't know at the time what a great deal that would have been. Holy cow, that's interesting. That is interesting. Do Norwegians out there know about this? That is a fun fact. And we're never going to let them forget. Oh my god, that must feel bad. Oh man, for Sweden. Oh, that must sting. Oh my god. The Svalbard archipelago is part of the Kingdom of Norway. The administrative settlement on Svalbard is Longyearbyen. The northernmost town in the world has a population of 2,500. Right, this Svalbard, like group of islands north of Norway. I had no idea that even existed for the longest time. Most Americans have no idea about Svalbard. Like, no idea there's this group of islands up there. What else? In my hometown of Drammen, there's a tunnel for cars that's a spiral up into a mountain. It's 2 kilometers long and has 6 to 7 full circles. It's like a spiral up a mountain like this? Up the inside a mountain? That is amazing. I mean, that'd be cool to visit. I feel like that's not even a tourist thing. That's just you need a tunnel to get up the mountain. But that'd be fun to just visit. We don't have anything like that. Man, Norway has some pretty crazy mountains. And I think Norway in general just has a lot more tunnels. Spiral tunnel. That sounds kind of scary too, like claustrophobic. What else? If you're interested in history and culture, you should try looking up the histories of the different municipalities. Kommunevopen. There are usually cool histories connected to them. Really? Good tip. Due to all our mountains, especially in the west, we have a lot of tunnels. Oh, exactly what we were saying. I think we have one of the longest in Europe. Yeah, like, right. I think Norway does have, like, one of the longest tunnels ever. Lærdestunnelen? It's the longest road tunnel in the world. It's in Norway. Wow, yes. And the deepest? What does the deepest mean? Like, the deepest... If it's the longest tunnel, isn't it also the deepest? I don't know. Expensive and animal are the same word, dyr, which is very much in line with high prices at the vet clinics. Expensive and animal. That's very different words in English. In Norwegian, it's both der. Really? And gift means both poison and merry. I love these Norwegian language facts. Gift, like gift that's a Norwegian word, gift. It means poison or married. Oh my, who came up with that? Norway should be divided into 3 time zones. Bergen should be the English one, Norway in the most current one, and Vardu on the Russian zone. Okay. Cod tongue is considered a delicacy. When the fishermen came from fishing, they used to give cod heads to children who would cut out and sell the cod tongue. Is this true? I know Norway has a lot of fish stuff. Fish food, fish delicacies. I don't want to judge your culture, but... Well, cod tongue? Oh my god. Whew. What else? Cod. I'm sorry, but fish have tongues? I didn't even know that. Some of our domestic animal breeds are the Nordlandshest, which is horses. Dulandhest, horses. Jording. Skogskat. It's a Norwegian forest cat. Lundehund is a dog. Wow. So there's like a Norwegian breed of dog. Lundehund. Can I get a picture of that? Maybe? Oh, there it is. Norwegian Lundehund. Huh, that's a cute dog. In northern Norway, we believe having sex before fishing increases your luck of getting a big catch. I'm sure there's lots of fishermen in northern Norway. Lots of fishermen who swear by this. Swear. Bonus point. I believe Norway is a good country for ASD people and introverts. Norway is good for introverts because it has respect for personal space and privacy. That does sound very nice. It has a need for clear communication and honesty. Yeah, this is very, very different to America. Minimal small talk. Yeah, I think introverts really do suffer in America, where people are very outgoing. You're expected to be confident and talking and all these things. There's an expectation of that to some extent. Norway sounds a lot more chill. A lot more chill. We were part of Denmark from 1537 to 1814. Okay. Yeah. Okay, we've been going at this for quite a while. I could just spend all day looking at random Norwegian facts, but I'm going to stop here. That was very interesting. I mean, the vast majority of this facts I've never heard of before. This was fun hearing from Norwegians. Very unique, really less known things about Norway, Norwegian language. I did enjoy this quite a lot. So anyway, if you enjoyed this as well, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment with your fun, weird fact about Norway. That'd be very fun to hear about. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Norway and learning about Norwegian culture, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.